Greetings, dear viewers. I'm George from Ireland, and here I am at Queen Charlotte's Cottage in Kew Gardens, London. So this was constructed in 1772 for the wife of King George III. It's a cottage ornée. You can see the thatched roof above. So now, to my mind, cottage is a single-story rural dwelling, but this is a two-story building, as you can see. It's closer to the Russian idea of cottage, which is a fairly opulent country house. Now, it's not that large. Now, the royal family, they never resided in this one. It's about a mile from the royal palace here at Kew, which again is a smaller and more modest palace. And after a ramble through their gardens, they would stop here for tea and refreshment. So it's almost like mock Tudor, the black wooden pillars or whatever you call them on the outside. So this is very understated. And I'm not sure when they sold off Kew Gardens, but anyway, they would have their afternoon snacks there. And they kept all sorts of curious and exotic beasts out here in this paddock. This is the rear of the cottage, giving you some idea of the size of it, because I couldn't give you an indication of the scale at the other side because there's a fence. I couldn't go any further forward, and beyond that, if I climbed over the fence, there are some oaks would have obscured the cottage. But anyway, on this paddock I'm showing you now, they kept animals such as Tartarian pheasants and kangaroos. So in the 1790s, the very first kangaroos were brought to the British Isles from Australia, because of course it's 26th of January 1788, the first fleet arrived at Botany Bay, founding the city of Sydney, named after the Home Secretary at the time, Lord Sydney, and the colony of New South Wales. So there were often felons who were sent to serve out their sentences there of penal servitude, and then they were granted liberty. But anyway, some kangaroos were brought back, and they were bred here. And there were 18 by the early 19th century. Then in 1806, Mr. Ayton, who was the head gardener here, was told to get rid of them. I don't know what was done. And then they planted a flower bed here. Quite tedious. And previous queens had kept more ravenous beasts such as tigers in their lodge at Richmond. I think that means the White Lodge, which is now the Royal Ballet School. So there you get an idea of what it's like. And this is just the ticket booth, which I presume is not original. It's not open to the public now because of coronavirus concerns. We can't be clustering together, so we don't want to mingle too closely. So that's the ticket booth I was showing you there. There it is. Nothing that special, but think of all these regal personages who've been here. And it was also the site in, goodness, I'm trying to think about this, around about 1818 for a double wedding, the Duke of Clarence and the Duke of Kent. And the Duke of Kent, of course, Edward, he's the father of Queen Victoria, and they got married here because until the early 20th century, royal weddings were actually quite understated and private affairs. So that's just a little bit about Queen Charlotte's Cottage here at Kew Gardens, London. So you really must come. It's only £10 today. Ordinarily, it's about double that, but because all these buildings are shut, they've made it a bit cheaper. So one of the few diverting things we can do at the moment. So we're hard by the Thames, that you wouldn't guess it. And they've got all sorts of trees, monkey puzzle trees. There are various greenhouses. We're not allowed in them at the moment. And look at this rhododendron. We brought those in from China in the late 19th century. Okay, so the Thames is over there, but you can't see old Father Thames wander his way down to the North Sea. From this point, it's obscured by all the foliage, but you can see this very splendid and soothing verdure all around. Isn't that good for the soul? Bit of placidity, rus in urbe. Anyway, it's Elysian, so you must come. Toodle pip.